When a man truly likes you, one of the first things that shifts, often before even he realizes it, is where his attention goes. You start to occupy more of his mental space. And what's interesting is that it's not just about staring, texting, or reaching out. Seat. It's subtler than that. His attention becomes selective. You stand out in a crowd, not because of what you do, but because something about you has triggered an internal focus. He starts to notice small things. How you laugh, the way you gesture when you're making a point, or even how you fall silent when you're thinking. These details begin to matter to him in ways that don't make logical sense. What's really happening is this: his brain is filtering the world differently now. We all have thousands of bits of information hitting us every moment, and our minds can't possibly absorb them all. So we unconsciously choose what we focus on. When a man starts liking you, you become part of that selective focus. It's not deliberate, it's instinctive. His attention becomes a compass pointing toward what his emotions crave, even if his logic hasn't caught up yet. But this selective attention also reveals something deeper about attraction itself. Real attraction isn't loud. It's not performative. It's not about trying to impress. It's about the quiet moments when someone becomes aware of you in a way that feels personal, almost private. He might not even act on it. He might just listen more closely when you speak or remember something you said in passing. And you might think, that it's not nothing. That's the mind attaching significance. The danger for many people, though, is that they miss this stage entirely because they're only looking for obvious signs, the flirtation, the compliments, the direct moves. Yet, the subtle kind of attention is far more telling. It's easy to tell someone they look good. It's harder to genuinely notice them. Attention that's born from attraction has texture. It's intentional, quiet, and consistent. It's a kind of care that reveals curiosity. Ho is she. What does she think when she's alone? And here's where it gets psychologically fascinating. A man who's secretly drawn to you starts building an emotional world around the idea of you. His thoughts wander in your direction, not because he's decided to fall for you, but because something about you represents meaning, excitement, or comfort. That's what obsession really is, to the same point of emotional gravity over and over again. Now, this doesn't mean you should overanalyze every glance or message. The goal isn't to catch him thinking about you. It's to understand that attention is a form of energy, and energy always flows where value is perceived. So instead of wondering, is he looking at me? Ask, what is it about me that draws focus? Because when you embody self-assurance, passion, and presence, you naturally command attention without chasing it. A man's selective focus is not the proof of your worth. It's a mirror of it. It reflects what you project into the world. When you stop trying to be noticed and start standing firmly in who you are, you become unforgettable. And that's the secret. Attraction isn't about performing for someone's gaze. It's about being so centered in yourself that their attention has nowhere else to go. In the end, his attention is not your validation. It's confirmation of what's already true, that you have something magnetic within you. Don't wait to be noticed to realize it. Be the kind of presence that can't be ignored, even in silence. One of the subtlest yet most powerful signs that a man likes you, but is trying to hide it, is how his behavior subtly shifts in your presence. He might not come right out and say anything, but you'll notice a quiet disruption in his usual rhythm. The confident, composed version of him that others see suddenly becomes just a little more self-aware around you. He may stumble on his words, laugh more than usual, or start to second guess things he normally says without hesitation. Seat. What you're witnessing isn't nervousness in the ordinary sense. It's emotional interference. His mind is trying to maintain control while his emotions are already in motion. The truth is, attraction and composure rarely coexist peacefully. When someone genuinely draws us in, our instinct to manage the impression we make goes into overdrive. That's why so many people misinterpret this as indifference or even awkwardness. But in reality, that subtle disruption is one of the clearest windows into hidden affection. He's trying not to reveal too much, but in doing so, he reveals everything. Here's what's happening beneath the surface when a man feels emotionally pulled towards someone. Seat. His brain begins firing in a heightened state of awareness. Every word, every silence, every small reaction of yours becomes amplified. He's not just hearing you, he's listening. He's not just looking at you, he's studying. But because he doesn't want to seem too invested, he'll disguise it with small deflections, sarcasm, humor, distractions. He'll engage just enough to stay close, but not enough to expose what's really going on inside. This is why you'll often sense a kind of push and pull energy from him. Seat. One moment he's deeply attentive, asking questions that show genuine curiosity, and the next he's pulling back, acting cool, or even seeming slightly distant. That's emotional self-defense. He's trying to protect the vulnerability that comes with truly liking someone. It's not because he doesn't care. It's because he cares too much and doesn't yet know if it's safe to show it. The irony is that this emotional tension, the quiet restraint mixed with unspoken curiosity, is often the very thing that creates chemistry. Because it's real, it's unscripted, it's that human moment when attraction meets fear and sincerity tries to break through the wall of self-protection. When you sense this, don't rush to interpret it as mixed signals. Instead, recognize that it's the dance of uncertainty that every meaningful connection begins with. From a psychological standpoint, what's unfolding here is fascinating. His conscious mind is trying to maintain image, but his subconscious keeps betraying him through micro expressions, tone shifts, and body language. He'll find reasons to be near you without making it obvious, offering help, joining group plans, or just coincidentally showing up where you are. These small efforts are not random. They're micro decisions driven by emotional impulse. And the deeper insight here is that when a man starts altering his natural behavior around you, it's rarely about impressing you. It's about protecting something he feels but isn't ready to articulate. It's the emotional equivalent of standing too close to the fire but pretending you're just admiring the light. So, the next time you sense that shift, the stumble in confidence, the glance that lingers a second too long, seat. The conversation that seems to hover between light and meaningful. Pause before you judge it. That's not confusion, that's evidence of care. That's what real attraction looks like before it finds the courage to be spoken aloud. And maybe that's the beauty of it. The most genuine feelings often reveal themselves not in grand gestures, but in the tiny ways someone loses their balance around you and still keeps showing up anyway. Another subtle sign that a man likes you, but is doing his best to hide it, is the way he remembers details. Tiny, almost insignificant fragments of your world that most people would overlook. He'll recall the name of your childhood pet, the way you take your coffee, or that offhand comment you made about a dream you've never told anyone else. On the surface, it might seem casual, almost coincidental, but make no mistake, when someone is emotionally invested, their attention sharpens. What you say begins to matter to them in a way that extends far beyond politeness or curiosity. See, emotional attraction isn't always expressed through grand gestures or overt declarations. More often, it shows up through small acts of attentive memory. When a man truly likes you, your words don't just pass through his mind. They stay with him. They echo. They shape his perception of you. This kind of remembering isn't about intellect. It's about connection. He remembers because in those moments, you made him feel something, and the human brain is wired to hold on tightly to emotion. But what's fascinating is how subtly he tries to disguise it. He might weave those details into conversation so it doesn't seem like he's been paying close attention. Seat. Didn't you say you liked that book? He'll ask casually as if it just occurred to him, yet the precision of that recollection betrays him. That's not just memory. It's care disguised as curiosity. And care is one of the hardest things to hide, no matter how hard someone tries. This quiet attentiveness reveals a deeper truth. When someone values you, they value as knowing you. They don't just listen to respond. They listen to understand. And that understanding becomes the foundation of emotional intimacy, even if no romantic confession has been made. Because what draws people together isn't just attraction, it's recognition. The feeling that someone truly sees you, not just your surface, but your inner world. Men, especially those who tend to suppress emotion, often express interest in this indirect way. Seat. They'll anchor their affection in observation rather than confession. It's a safer form of vulnerability. It allows them to connect without risking rejection. So they listen. They remember. They pay attention to the threads that make you who you are. And in doing so, they create a silent bridge between you and them, one built entirely on emotional awareness. You might not even realize it at first. You'll just notice that he brings up things no one else remembers, or that he anticipates what you'll need before you even ask. This kind of awareness isn't accidental. It's instinctive. It's the natural response of someone whose emotions are engaged, whose curiosity has turned into care. And it's one of the most powerful indicators that someone isn't just thinking about you in passing. They're holding space for you, even in your absence. So, if you ever find yourself wondering whether he's truly interested or just being kind, look at where his attention goes. Interest can be faked, but presence cannot. The person who listens deeply, who remembers your words, who takes note of what matters to you, is already emotionally invested. Because remembering is love's quietest language. And maybe that's the truth most people overlook. It's not the loud declarations that reveal the deepest feelings. It's the quiet recollections, the small, effortless proofs that say, "Sir, I notice you. I see you. You matter," and that, more than anything else, is the kind of attention that speaks the loudest, even when it's never spoken aloud. Another subtle thing men do when they like you, but are trying hard to hide it, is that they start mirroring you, often without realizing it. It's one of those fascinating behaviors that psychology has studied for years, yet in real life, it plays out so naturally that most people miss it entirely. You cross your legs, he does the same a few seconds later. You laugh a certain way, and soon he's matching your rhythm. You lean in slightly when you talk, and he unconsciously follows. This isn't mimicry in a superficial sense. It's emotional synchronization. It's his body's way of saying, "Zero, I feel connected to you," long before his words ever will. When a man is drawn to someone, his brain begins to align with theirs. Subtle but powerful. This mirroring creates a sense of harmony, a wordless rhythm between two people that feels comfortable, safe, familiar. And here's what's really interesting. This kind of sensing doesn't happen with just anyone. It only happens when there's genuine emotional resonance. When he's not just noticing you, but feeling you. It's a reflection of interest that goes beyond physical attraction. It's instinctive alignment. But it's not just physical gestures he mirrors. You might notice it in his tone, his pace of speaking, even the way he uses certain phrases you say often. Over time, his energy starts to adapt to yours. If you're calm, he softens. If you're passionate, he matches that intensity. That's because emotional attraction isn't about imitation. It's about connection. When someone is drawn to your essence, they naturally begin to tune into it like two instruments finding the same key. Now, this is where it becomes truly revealing. A man who's emotionally guarded might not confess how he feels, but his subconscious will betray him. Mirroring is his way of bridging that gap between what he feels and what he's afraid to say. It's the psychology of closeness expressed in silence. Every time he aligns with you, through posture, tone, or energy, he's trying, even unknowingly, to stay in emotional sync. He wants to be where you are. He wants to experience the world through your presence. And if you pay attention, you'll see that this behavior isn't performative. It's instinctive. He doesn't even realize he's doing it. He's not putting on an act. He's simply being drawn into your orbit. The deeper his emotional attraction, the more naturally he'll start reflecting your behavior. It's not something you can fake or force. It's a signal that comes from the heart, not the head. It's why two people who truly connect often say the same thing at the same time or laugh at something that wasn't even that funny. They're operating in sync. Their emotional wavelengths have merged. That kind of connection doesn't happen from surface level interest. It happens when two people are quietly attuned to each other, when there's something deeper happening beneath the conversation. And maybe that's what we so often underestimate. The power of unspoken chemistry. You can't always see it, but you can feel it. And when someone mirrors you, when their energy starts to reflect yours, that's not coincidence. That's emotional alignment in action. So, if you ever find yourself wondering whether a man's feelings are real or just fleeting, don't just listen to his words. Watch how he moves around you. Notice if his energy follows yours. Because words can be guarded, actions can be rehearsed, but emotional mirroring, that's the truth leaking out through the cracks of self-control. And in that quiet synchronization, you'll find one of the most honest forms of attraction. There is two people who, without meaning to, start moving through the world in rhythm with each other.
Another subtle thing men do when they like you, but hide it, is they listen differently not just to your words, but to you. When a man is genuinely drawn to someone, his attention becomes selective. He might seem distracted in other areas of his life, but when you speak, he's tuned in. He's not just nodding politely or waiting for his turn to talk. He's remembering the little things you say, the details others overlook. He remembers your favorite coffee order, the name of the friend you mentioned once, or the thing you said bothered you at work. That's not random. That's emotional investment disguised as curiosity. Listening, in this context, becomes an act of connection. It's how he stays close without crossing boundaries he might not feel ready to cross yet. For emotionally reserved men, listening is often the safest way to express care without revealing too much vulnerability. Because when he listens with that kind of intensity, he's not just absorbing information, he's collecting moments. He's learning you in quiet ways, building a map of your world so he can exist more easily within it. What's interesting is that this type of listening feels different from polite attention. There's an energy behind it. It feels like presence. He leans in slightly when you talk. He reacts in subtle ways to your tone. And even when he's not speaking, you can feel his awareness. That's because when someone is emotionally attracted, they aren't just trying to understand, they're trying to connect. They want to feel what you feel, not just hear what you say. Now, from a psychological perspective, this form of listening is deeply tied to emotional safety. When a man feels safe with someone, his guard lowers. He listens more deeply because he's no longer protecting himself. He's allowing himself to be affected. That's why, when a man likes you but is hesitant to admit it, his listening often reveals what his words conceal. It's as if, through your voice, he finds a space where he doesn't need to hide. And sometimes that's what women miss, those moments of quiet focus. Because we're used to associating interest with grand gestures, the text, the compliment, the pursuit. But attraction is often in the subtleties, the shift in attention, the way he seems to hold on to your words longer than expected. This is why it's important not to mistake a man's calm for disinterest. Sometimes the calm is the interest. It's how he's processing the emotion he can't yet put into words. Listening in love is one of the purest acts of attraction because it requires effort and intention. Anyone can talk, anyone can flirt, but very few people can listen in a way that makes you feel understood. And when a man does that, it's because something in you resonates with something in him. You've awakened his attention, and attention is one of the rarest currencies in a distracted world. So, if you notice a man who seems to really hear you, who remembers your pauses, your patterns, the small things you didn't think mattered, it might not just be politeness. It might be his way of saying, without saying it, I see you, you matter. And in the end, that's what emotional attraction truly is, not just the desire to be near someone, but the willingness to understand them deeply. Because when a man listens to you with his whole presence, he's already more vulnerable than he realizes. And that's the beauty of it. The loudest sign of attraction isn't always in what's said. Sometimes it's in the quiet moments when he's simply listening, completely tuned in, as if the world fades for a second and only you remain. One of the most powerful yet overlooked signs that a man likes you, but tries to hide it, is when he subtly starts mirroring your energy. It's not always something you'll notice right away, but if you pay attention, you'll see it in how he adjusts his tone when speaking to you, how his expressions unconsciously reflect yours, or how his behavior softens around you. This isn't manipulation, it's psychology. When we're drawn to someone, when we feel emotionally connected or captivated by them, our bodies naturally begin to synchronize. It's the subconscious saying, I'm with you, I get you, I want to belong in your world. You might notice that he starts using phrases you often say, or his texting style begins to resemble yours. Maybe he begins to adopt little habits you have, like the way you laugh, or the music you listen to, or even the timing of your messages. These aren't coincidences. They're subtle reflections of emotional attunement. When a man is emotionally drawn to someone, he doesn't just admire her. He starts adapting to her emotional rhythm. It's his way of feeling closer without making a direct confession. What makes this fascinating from a psychological perspective is that mirroring is one of the oldest forms of connection in human behavior. Even babies do it. They mimic facial expressions as a way to bond. Adults do the same thing when they care. It's an unconscious way of saying, I see you, I feel you, and I'm aligning with you, Asterisk, so when a man begins to mirror your body language, your tone, or even your mindset, it's not just admiration, it's emotional intimacy forming in real time. But here's the thing, most men who are secretly into someone won't even realize they're doing this. They might tell themselves they're just being polite, or they simply get along with you. But subconsciously, something much deeper is happening. They're blending parts of your world into theirs. It's a form of emotional closeness that happens before words ever catch up. However, what's crucial to understand is that this mirroring only happens when he feels safe around you. Emotional safety creates the space for him to open up without consciously realizing it. When a man feels that you're not judging him, that he doesn't have to prove anything, he allows himself to match your frequency. That's where real attraction lies, not in performance, but in alignment. You can feel this kind of connection when you notice the flow between you. Conversations feel easy, silences aren't awkward. There's this underlying sense that you're in sync, even if nothing has been said outright. That's because he's emotionally tuned in, not out of strategy, but out of instinct. When a man is truly into someone, he stops trying to control his image around her. He just feels and that feeling naturally shapes how he moves, talks, and even thinks when she's around. And this is where emotional attraction becomes visible through energy, not words. You can't fake synchronicity. You can't plan chemistry. It's something that happens when two people drop the walls and begin to mirror each other's truth. So, if you notice a man quietly aligning with your rhythm, matching your pace, echoing your emotions, or sharing your energy even in silence, it's not random. It's real. It's his heart revealing what his words haven't yet caught up to. Because sometimes the most powerful signs of attraction aren't shouted, they are mirrored. And the moment you recognize that kind of reflection in someone else, it's a reminder that emotional connection isn't about who says it first. It's about who feels it deeply enough to reflect it back.